Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 77 of my 100-day project. I am working in gouache, and I've only got a few more days, and then we're off to the next medium. It's all going by so quickly. Today, I did my first maker's market of the season, and it was lovely. It was pouring down rain all day through the whole thing. But so many people came out, and it was so fun to chat and see folks and chat with folks. And I had a little gel printing make and take at my booth, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful day. And I just got home and felt like my heart was full. It's all the things that I love about being an artist and doing these pop-ups and art fairs and talking to people about art and being excited about art and getting them excited about art and creating art and art. It's like, I love it, and I get to do that, and I'm so grateful. So I thought today what I would do is paint a figure inside of a heart. And when I put the shape down, it wasn't very big. And so I thought, okay, well, there's going to be a face inside this heart. And because I didn't make it very big, I thought, okay, I need to give this figure a body. So I went ahead and gave them a body and just started putting in some background. So because it's gouache, I am doing my best to try and let areas dry before I go in and add another layer. So I'm doing the background, I did the body, I'm trying to wait for the face to dry. And I am not always very patient. I don't always wait for it to dry completely. And there are a couple places where things get a little bit muddy or things bleed into each other because I haven't been patient enough to let the whole thing dry. And, that's fine. I could put a blow dryer and do the whole thing, and I didn't. So it is what it is. So what I'm doing here is I'm just building in some shadows. And I'm thinking about one side of the face being more in the light, that's the side on the right, and the other side of the face being more in shadow. So I'm kind of coming in here and adding in some shapes, trying to figure out the size of the eyes. I ended up making the eyes bigger than what I had initially sort of sketched in because I just felt like they needed to take up more space in the face. The upper part, because it's a heart shape, the upper part would have just been way too big, I thought. I probably could have kept them the original size and it would have been fine, but this is what I decided to do, so that's what I did. And I'm using Prussian blue with a little bit of that carmine color mixed in for my darks. I decided to go with orange eyes today. And often when I've got a warm colored face like this, I will go with a teal or a blue in the eye for contrast. But today, for some reason, I just decided to do one of my orange eyes. I really like to do orange eyes. It reminds me of brown eyes. And I thought that would be good. So here with the mouth, this is one of those places where I didn't wait for things to dry. And so that lighter pinkish color that I was putting in the bottom lip bled, the top lip bled into the bottom lip because I didn't let the top lip dry. But one of the things that I enjoyed about this painting today was the layering. So unlike yesterday when I really didn't have a lot of time to work on the painting, today I let myself spend as much time as I wanted, and I worked on it until I got tired. And so I was able to build some layers and do what gouache is so wonderful at. And when it dries, there's just this wonderful velvety finish to it. It's unlike any other medium. And so I really, really enjoy what it looks like. At this stage, my layers are still pretty thin, So they're very watery, and you'll see like that dark color in the corner of the outer corner of the left eye is it bled into the other paint because it was wet. And again, because the washes at this stage are very thin, they're kind of bleeding into each other like watercolor. And that's okay. I'm not minding that because I know I'm going to continue to layer. The interesting thing about gouache is you kind of think about it like oil painting in the sense that you want your thinner washes to be your underlayers. And as you build up layers and layers, and you get closer to finishing your painting, you want your gouache to be a little bit thicker as you go. And that's going to help you layer on top of what's underneath without it all mixing and getting muddy. And so this is one of the great things about gouache, but it's also one of the biggest challenges for me because I get impatient and I don't always wait. So like in that left eye, you can see when I went to darken up the pupil, it bled into the iris, the orangey part, because I didn't wait for the orangey part to dry. So, and that kind of stuck there. And then as we get towards the end, I'm using the gouache that's on my palette, which is gouache that's dried that I've reactivated. To get a really, really great creamy consistency, I've found the best thing for me to do is to put out fresh gouache. And I didn't do that. So as I'm layering, it's mixing with what's underneath probably a little bit more than I would have liked. And I probably could have used fewer layers if I had put out some fresh gouache and had it a little bit thicker, because it would have layered better and I wouldn't have had to have kept layering. So again, I was being lazy and didn't really feel like putting out some fresh gouache. I already have a lot of gouache on my palette. And so, you know, I kind of knew that I wasn't doing myself any favors, but I still like how they turned out in the end. And you'll see as I add the layers, it just develops more structure, more form. The colors get brighter. I'm using Holbein Artist Gouache. And in the washes, when it's really, really thin, it's not as pigmented. And so it's just not as vibrant. Where you get that vibrancy is when there's less water. And so as I add these layers and the paint gets a little bit thicker, it gets more and more vibrant, which I love. And so that becomes really easy to see as things build. So I'm just bringing in some lights there, trying to let things dry a little bit better, getting in those highlights. So I've got a bright white highlight on the side of the face where the light is, and then I've mixed up kind of a grayish highlight for the shadow side of the face. Putting in a little bit of darks now in the mouth so I can darken up that upper lip where it ran into the bottom lip, and making some little circular shapes in that top lip to give it some structure, a little bit of form. So now I'm putting in the eyelid, and this is one of the places where it would have been better if I had put out fresh gouache. I kind of went over this several times because I couldn't get the vibrancy in that middle part of the upper eyelid. This is the side of the face that's going to catch the most light. And so I wanted that to be nice and rich and vibrant. And it was just too thin. And so it kept activating what was underneath. And it would have been better if I just put out some fresh gouache, one fell swoop. I could have gotten the color that I was looking for, and I just didn't do it. So I'm adding in a little bit of that Prussian blue as a shadow on the left side. And I'm using this small detailed brush, and I'm kind of doing a little bit of dry brushing there, partly because I don't want it to mix too much and activate or give me any blooms in what's already dried, and partly because I really like the texture. I like how it looks with that dry brushing. And this is hot press paper, so it's fairly smooth, so it's not going to pick up a lot of texture from the paper, but I do like bringing that in. And I'm bringing in more yellow to create a little bit more warmth on the light side of the face and the body. And then I decide if I really, really want that light to pop, I need to darken the background. So I've mixed up some Prussian blue with a little bit of the cobalt teal and some orange to dirty it up a little bit and tone down some of the saturation. And then I'm doing this Rembrandt lighting where on the bright side of the face, I'm doing a dark background, and then that's fading to a lighter background on the darker side of the face. And that really helps that contrast of that light side, which is where my focal point is. It really helps it pop against the darker background. And there they are. And you can see with those added layers, the vibrancy came back. Look at the difference between the face and the body. The body has a lot of that thin wash layer, and the face has the thicker paint, so it's more vibrant, more opaque. And I could go in and darken up that one nostril. One of my brush strokes bled into that a little bit. It kind of creates a funky shape. That might be something I might go in and quickly address later. But I love them. Super, super fun. And I just enjoyed feeling grateful and expressing that through having fun with this medium. So if you were one of the folks that came to see me at my booth today, thank you so much. It means the world to me when you all tell me that you're following me along on this journey. And it's just so great to know that other folks are maybe enjoying it as much as I am. So I appreciate you. And for everyone that I saw today and everyone that follows and likes or makes a comment or anything, I'm so grateful and I appreciate you all. So thank you for supporting me on my journey. I hope you are doing well. Take care of you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.